She attended you did a lot of laughing in our household, and all of that happened in those rooms. Michelle Obama now stepping into America's most traditional role, a full-time, non-paid, multi-dimensional job of First Lady.
Well, part of what makes her extraordinary is that she has been able to continue to be down to earth even as the First Lady. She's just Michelle. Our friendship developed, I think, because we both have an interest in military families. When I met Michelle, she said, "What do you think would be the issue that you're most interested in?" And I said, military families.
And I said to Jill, I said, that's what I'd like to do. And that's where it all began.
Two words to mean a lot to our family in those difficult times, just to know that there are folks in the White House rowing in the same direction with us.
Whether it be helping homeless veterans through employment, trying to incorporate the military culture into the school systems, helping spouses find jobs, that's all come together.
She genuinely seems to care and want to know what military families are going through so that she can make change at the national level. You all don't even ask for much, you know? It's like, so we should be able to step up in whatever way we can. That 1% of the country is serving to protect the freedoms of the other 99% of us. So my view is that there's a lot more that we can be doing for them to make that service and sacrifice the way that will be easier.
Oh, she's so good with young people, and she sees herself as a woman. She treats the young children just the way she treats her own kids. So they look at her as their mom, and she is a mom.
It's a natural for me to see her getting the nation's kids out there, exercising and moving around.
The best way to take care of yourself is to own your health. To eat better and exercise more. It's about the whole child. It's about understanding how a child develops and how we can best put the child in a position to be successful.
And she wanted it to be fun. We come up with let's move in such a great way. Let's move. It's something we do together.
She is a strong woman. Physically, obviously, we also have Virginia balance. I wondered if you could do more push-ups than I could do. And I thought it wouldn't be good to show off the First Lady, so I stopped. I've seen a lead by example, get right into it, a pull up your sleeve, pull a looping jump rope First Lady, and I think that's what we need.
Hello, Mrs. Obama.
Hey.
And the number one fun fact about gardening.
With enough care and effort, you can grow your own broccoli.
We went to our garden and we harvested some healthy food, a lot of carrots, peas, fruit. She encouraged us to exercise more and to be healthier. You really are a wonderful woman. I think you're the perfect wife for Obama. Family's everything. I think there's nothing more important to her than her children and her marriage and her mom and making sure that that all works well together.
She was very clear, mom and chief. I heard it. You heard it. She came in with a very clear, we're going to make sure our kids are okay.
I think every parent thinks that their kids are fabulous and remarkable, special. And my kids are fabulous, remarkable, and special. And the reason they are is because
I got a shave.
she's the conductor. And I'm second to that.
You know, Block always gives me so much credit for who our girls have become. But let me tell you, our girls wouldn't be who they are without a man in their life who loved them deeply.
What I love about my wife more than anything is she knows what's important. She knows that the best and most important legacy in anybody's life is making sure that the kids turn out all right. They have good values, they're kind, they're caring, and what's very gratifying to me is that I know the girls at this point are fine because they can
Leonardo DiCaprio and Matthew McConaughey and Jonah Hill and Martin Scorsese. They were filming in Closer.
Oh my god.
And Closer! Sorry. Oh my god.
What's a mom like me doing in a place like this? I'm not even a political person, but what I am is a military mom. My husband and I are so proud of our 5 kids, one each in the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, and the Marines. Our youngest is still in high school, and yes, we are hoping he will join the Coast Guard. They are mom's most precious treasures. And I don't know when I'm going to get them together again, because one of them is always deploying. But because of Dr. Biden and the First Lady, our lives are a little bit easier. Along with President Obama, they have made helping military families a top priority. They brought together the American people, including thousands of businesses, to become part of a nationwide support network. It is honor and respect in action, and it warms this mother's heart. Last December, I wrote Michelle Obama a Christmas card. Just a mom-to-mom note to say thank you for caring. The First Lady not only read my letter, she invited my husband and I to the White House. It was an amazing experience. But what's even more amazing is knowing that our Commander-in-Chief and First Lady are thinking about families like mine every single day. So, like I said, I'm not a political person, but I'm a mom. And if someone is there for my family and families like mine, then I'll be there for them. That's why I am so proud to introduce my fellow mom and our First Lady, Michelle Obama. Elaine, thank you so much. We are so grateful for your family's service and sacrifice, and we will always have your back. Over the past few years as First Lady, I have had the extraordinary privilege of traveling all across this country, and everywhere I've gone and the people I've met,
And the stories I've heard, I have seen the very best of the American spirit. I've seen it in the incredible kindness and warmth that people have shown me and my family, especially our girls. I've seen it in teachers in a near bankrupt school district who vowed to keep teaching without pay. I've seen it in people who become heroes at a moment's notice, diving into harm's way to save others, flying across the country to put out a fire, driving for hours to bail out a flooded town. And I've seen it in our men and women in uniform and our proud military families. In wounded warriors who tell me they're not just going to walk again, they're going to run, and they're going to run marathons. In the young man blinded by a bomb in Afghanistan who said simply, I give my eyes 100 times again to have the chance to do what I have done and what I can still do. Every day, the people I meet inspire me. Every day they make me proud. Every day they remind me how blessed we are to live in the greatest nation on earth. Serving as your first lady is an honor and a privilege. But back when we first came together 4 years ago, I still had some concerns about this journey we've begun. While I believed deeply in my husband's vision for this country, and I was certain he would make an extraordinary president, like any mother, I was worried about what it would mean for our girls if he got that chance. And how will we keep them grounded under the glare of the national spotlight? How would they feel being uprooted from their school, their friends, and the only home they'd ever known? See, our life before moving to Washington was filled with simple joys. Saturdays at soccer games, Sundays at grandma's house, and a date night for Barack and me was either dinner or a movie, because as an exhausted mom, I couldn't stay away from both. And the truth is, I loved the life we had built for our girls. And I deeply loved the man I had built that life with. And I didn't want that to change if he became president. I loved Barack just the way he was. You see, even back then, when Barack was a senator and a presidential candidate, to me, he was still the guy who picked me up for our dates in a car that was so rusted out, I could actually see the pavement going by in a hole in the passenger side door. He was the guy whose proudest possession was a coffee table he found in a dumpster. And whose only pair of decent shoes was a half size too small. But see, when Barack started telling me about his family, now that's when I knew I had found a kindred spirit. Someone whose values and upbringing were so much like mine. You see, Barack and I were both raised by families who didn't have much in the way of money or material possessions, but who had given us something far more valuable. Their unconditional love, their unflinching sacrifice, and the chance to go places they had never imagined for themselves. My father was a pump operator at the city water plant, and he was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis when my brother and I were young. And even as a kid, I knew there were plenty of days when he was in pain. And I knew there were plenty of mornings when it was a struggle for him to simply get out of bed. But every morning, I watched my father wake up with a smile. Now, grab his walker, prop himself up against the bathroom sink, and slowly shave and button his uniform. And when he returned home after a long day's work, my brother and I would stand at the top of the stairs of our little apartment, patiently waiting to greet him, watching as he reached down to lift one leg and then the other to slowly climb his way into our arms. But despite these challenges, my dad hardly ever missed a day of work. He and my mom were determined to give me and my brother the kind of education they could only dream of. college, nearly all of our tuition came from student loans and grants, but my dad still had to pay a tiny portion of that tuition himself. And every semester he was determined to pay that bill right on time, even taking out loans when he fell short. He was so proud to be sending his kids to college, and he made sure we never missed a registration deadline because his check was late. You see, for my dad, that's what it meant to be a man. Like so many of us. That was the measure of his success in life. Being able to earn a decent living that allowed him to support his family. And as I got to know Barack, I realized that even though he had grown up all the way across the country, he'd been brought up just like me. Barack was raised by a single mom who struggled to pay the bills and by grandparents who stepped in when she needed help. Barack's grandmother started out as a secretary at a community bank, and she moved quickly up the ranks, but like so many women, she hit a glass ceiling. And for years, men no more qualified than she was, men she had actually trained, were promoted up the ladder ahead of her, earning more and more money while Barack's family continued to scrape by. But day after day, she kept on waking up at dawn to catch the bus, arriving at work before anyone else, giving her best without complaint or regret. And she would often tell Barack, so long as you kids do well there, that's all that really matters. Like so many American families, our families weren't asking for much. They didn't begrudge anyone else's success or care that others had much more than they did. In fact, they admired it. They simply believed in that fundamental American promise that even if you don't start out with much, if you work hard and do what you're supposed to do, you should be able to build a decent life for yourself and an even better life for your kids and grandkids. That's how they raised us. What we learned from their example. We learned about dignity and decency. That how hard you work matters more than how much you make. That helping others means more than just getting ahead yourself. We learned about honesty and integrity. That the truth matters. That you don't take shortcuts or play by your own set of rules. And success doesn't count unless you earn it fair and square. We learned about gratitude and humility, that so many people had a hand in our success, from the teachers who inspired us to the janitors who kept our school clean. And we were taught to value everyone's contribution and treat everyone with respect. Those are the values that Barack and I and so many of you are trying to pass on to our own children. That's who we are. And standing before you 4 years ago, I knew that I didn't want any of that to change if Barack became president. Well, today, after so many struggles and triumphs and moments that have tested my husband in ways I never could have imagined, I have seen firsthand that being president doesn't change who you are. No, it reveals who you are. To see up close and personal what being president really looks like. And I've seen how the issues that come across a president's desk are always the hard ones. They're the problems where no amount of data or numbers will get you to the right answer. The judgment calls where the stakes are so high and there is no margin for error. And as president, you're going to get all kinds of advice from all kinds of people. But at the end of the day,